Hi, it's May 7th. I'm outside in the garden. I thought I would give you a little update on our radishes that we planted as part of our Where Does Our Food Come From? So, I have those here for you. So here you can see all of the little tiny radish seeds that I planted, and it has been about 2 weeks since I planted these. So we got a whole row here of radishes, and we got a second row here of radishes, and let's look at this one here. You can see that this one here is, the leaves are about the size of my fingernails, or maybe a little bit bigger, but in about another week and a half here, I'll have radishes ready to eat. As I go further down, remember my mom planted, she planted peapods. So here in the inside, we have all the little peapod plants coming up all the way around the outside to grow, and then as they grow, they'll kind of tangle themselves up in this white wire fence, and then we'll get peapods. The peapods have been growing about as long as the radishes. My mom planted them a day earlier, so we'll continue to watch those grow as well. And so as I'm doing these garden videos, thinking about all of the resources that I've used and my mom so far to plant these things and then be able to eat them. So we've had to use soil. That's a big resource that farmers have to have, is soil, otherwise we can't grow anything. And that's why it's so important that we are protecting the soil and taking care of it by not littering and by doing what they call crop rotation. So if a farmer only grows corn every year in the same spot, that soil is going to be very depleted of the nutrients in it. So they can grow corn one year, but the next year they might put beans in there, and the next year they might put pumpkins maybe, or hay or straw or alfalfa. And so farmers have to rotate the crops each year or every couple years to make sure that the soil doesn't lose all of the same nutrition, and so that way the different crops use different nutrition to help them grow. So if you're rotating, then you'll have a balance of the nutrition in the soil. So also to grow these crops that we have so far in our garden, we've had to use the resource of water. So every day for the last couple weeks, I've had to come out here and water if it hasn't rained to make sure that our seeds grow. Another resource that we've had to use is the sun. Now, well, of course, the sun comes out on its own, right? I don't have to do anything with the sun, but without the sun, the seeds cannot get warm enough to germinate and create the plant and the vegetable or the fruit to grow. So the sun is a very important resource, a natural resource, not one that I have anything to do with, but that will help our food grow and get into our lunchbox. Another important resource is fertilizer, and sometimes we use natural fertilizer, sometimes we use fertilizer that has been made and engineered in chemicals, and there's pluses and minuses to both of them. Here you can see all of these white things. Those are our eggshells. So this is our natural resource of our compost that my mom and dad emptied out into this garden bed. And so this is a natural resource because it's organic. It came from fruits and vegetables, coffee grounds, eggshells, all natural things. And all those natural things have nutrition. Like the eggshells give it calcium, carrots give it different vitamins, and same with watermelon, and nitrogen and is added and things like that. And so these items will provide a natural fertilizer in this soil once my mom and dad and I till it and put it inside this garden bed. Today for lunch, I made my dad an omelet, and I made myself an omelet, and my mom made eggs yesterday. So you can see there's eggshells. We also had a watermelon for dinner tonight, so you can see there are some very light edges to the watermelon rind. So those are things that I am going to add into our composter, because now that we emptied it out, we have to start all over. and adding. And you can see we already added some other things like cardboard or newspaper. And here we'll add our eggshells. It's kind of like the organic bin at school. We put food in there, but we also can put paper towels in there because those will decompose. They're biodegradable and become environmentally safe nutrients for re-adding to the soil. Alright, one other thing here. So it is May 7th right now, and it has been very warm for the last few days, but something that is not going to be helpful to our radishes and our pea pods is the temperature that it's going to get tonight. It is going to get pretty cold, and so we need to protect our plants from freezing, because if they freeze, because they're so little, they are not going to survive, and then we won't have food to eat. So farmers need to be very aware of the weather and how warm or how cold it is, because they can't go to their garden, or they can't go to all of their fields and cover up all of the precious plants to prevent them from getting frozen like I am doing. So I'm covering up my plants to prevent them from getting frost on them. And here I'm going to cover up the pea pods. I'm going to spread that out, but I'm covering them to help them survive. One more thing I wanted to share with you is my rhubarb. Remember in my first garden video, I also showed you the rhubarb, and I was going to get back to you about that family that it belongs to, and I believe it falls into the fruit family. But when I first showed you the rhubarb, it looks kind of like this size. But now it is this big. It is huge. Okay, and if I were to stand next to it, and maybe I'll have to do that in another video, it comes all the way up to my knees. So it's about 2 to 2.5 feet tall. So in another video, I'll show you me harvesting it and preparing it for cooking.